Welcome to Exponential News, your daily dose of what's happening at the edge of the exponential age. We break down the latest in AI, crypto, space, and frontier tech so you don't miss the signal in the noise.
All right, first up, let's talk about Elon Musk. His AI company, xAI, is making some serious waves. They just dropped their latest model, Grok 2.5, and here's the kicker. It's open source. Now, this is way more than just a simple software update. This is basically a shot across the bow of the entire AI industry.
So what we're seeing here is a huge split, a real fork in the road for AI. On one side, you've got xAI saying, hey, come on in, the code is open for everyone. They're giving developers and researchers total access. But on the other side, you've got the giants, right? OpenAI, Google. They're building these closed, proprietary walled gardens. Musk is basically drawing a line in the sand here.
And look, you might be thinking this is just a one-off publicity stunt, but it's really not. This is a deliberate, long-term play. Think about it. Back in March, they open-sourced Grok 1, which was, at the time, the biggest open-source model out there. Now, today, we get Grok 2.5, and Musk is already promising that Grok 3, which is supposed to be even more powerful, is also going to be open-sourced in about 6 months. I mean, they are all in on this strategy.
So why does this matter? Well, this move from xAI could totally shake up the entire AI landscape. When you democratize access to tech this powerful, you just light a fire under innovation. You get a whole global community of developers working on it. It's a direct challenge to this new trend of locking everything down, and it could force a whole new standard for transparency in the industry.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit and jump into the world of crypto. We've got to talk about the absolutely insane growth of stablecoins. You know, these are the digital currencies pegged to things like the US dollar. The growth we've seen this year is just staggering. Just take a second and look at that number, $270 billion. That's not a typo. That is the global market value for stablecoins right now. A number that big, well, it tells you this isn't some niche corner of finance anymore. This is mainstream.
And we're not talking about slow, steady growth here. This is a rocket ship. I mean, the market has more than doubled in just a few months. It went from $130 billion in January to where we are today. And at this rate, it's on track to blow past $300 billion by the end of the year. Just wild.
But here's the twist. Even though the market is huge, the power is not spread out. It's actually super concentrated. Get this, just 4 companies control almost the entire supply. Tether's USDT is the undisputed king, holding over 60% of the market share. Circle's USDC is a distant second. And you can bet that this kind of concentration has regulators paying very, very close attention.
So what's the big takeaway here? Well, this explosion in growth pretty much cements stablecoins as the go-to payment rails for the entire crypto world. You've got new US regulations bringing in some much-needed clarity and trust, and at the same time, global demand is just skyrocketing, especially in countries battling high inflation. It's clear, stablecoins are becoming the backbone of a whole new digital payment system.
So that's what's happening on the private side of digital payments. But what about governments? Well, some nations are looking at the OG crypto, Bitcoin, for their own reserves. And that brings us to our next story. The Philippines is thinking about a really bold move, making Bitcoin an official strategic national asset.
The guy behind the bill, Representative Miggs Villaforte, he's framing this in a really interesting way. He's not talking about it like it's some speculative gamble. No, he's calling it digital gold. The idea is to use it to diversify the country's assets and build long-term financial stability. It's a big picture play.
And this isn't just talk either. They have a very detailed, very disciplined plan. The proposal is to buy 2,000 Bitcoin every year for 5 years straight. Then they'd lock it up in a trust for 20 years. 20! And they can only sell it for one reason, to pay off government debt. Plus, and this is a big one, they're building in transparency from day one with quarterly proof of reserves.
Make no mistake, this is a huge deal. If this bill passes, the Philippines would instantly become one of the top sovereign holders of Bitcoin in the world. They could even jump ahead of El Salvador. This could totally reshape the economic game plan for all of Southeast Asia, and, it would set a really powerful example for other countries that are on the fence about crypto.
All right, so from Southeast Asia, let's head over to Europe, because the race for who will control the future of digital money is really heating up over there. The European Union is making a massive pivot in how they're thinking about a digital euro, and a lot of it has to do with what they're seeing happen in the US.
So you've basically got two totally different game plans emerging. In the US, the focus is on regulating those privately issued stablecoins, the ones pegged to the dollar. But the EU, they're going in a completely different direction. They're now seriously thinking about building their own public currency, a central bank digital currency, right on top of open blockchains like Ethereum and Solana. This is a huge, huge shift from their original plan of using a private network.
Now, they are dead serious about this, but don't expect to be using a digital euro tomorrow. This is a marathon, not a sprint. They're in what they call a preparation phase until the end of 2025. Then, maybe development starts in 2026, with a launch sometime between 2027 and 2029. So yeah, they're taking their time.
So what does this all add up to? Honestly, it's a geopolitical game changer. By pivoting to public blockchains, the EU is making a very direct play. They want to counter the US dollar's dominance in this new digital era, they want to protect their own monetary sovereignty, and they want to make sure they have a seat at the head of the table when it comes to the future of international payments.
All right, for our last story today, we're going to zoom in from the world of global finance to something a little closer to home for a lot of us, the creator economy. Turns out YouTube has been quietly running an experiment. They've been using AI to enhance creator videos. The catch? A lot of the time it's without the creator even knowing about it, let alone agreeing to it.
One music YouTuber, Rhett Shull, really captured the frustration here. He noticed his videos were being altered and they had this weird, unnatural look. He called it a non-consensual AI upscaling that gave his stuff an oil painting effect. He never asked for it, didn't want it, and there was no way to turn it off.
And that really gets to the heart of the issue, right? It raises this massive question for the entire creator economy. Where does platform control end and creator consent begin? You know, where is that line? When a platform decides it wants to improve your content, but it messes with your artistic vision, who gets the final say?
You can see why creators are so concerned. I mean, this cuts right to the core of what they do. They're saying these AI tweaks are basically hijacking their artistic voice, creating these weird visual effects, and worse, it can damage the trust they've worked for years to build with their audience. And the real kicker? Right now, there's no opt-out button. You can't say no.
So, let's step back. Why does this really matter? Because by secretly changing videos, YouTube is honestly playing with fire. They risk chipping away at the very thing the entire creator economy is built on: authenticity and trust. If this kind of thing becomes normal, it sets a really dangerous precedent. It could mean platforms feel they have the right to modify any content we upload without our permission. And that would fundamentally change our relationship with, well, with all digital media.
That's it for today's Exponential News. To dive deeper and see how we're building in public, visit exponentialtom.com and join our community.